So in this episode of the Let's Play, I'm going to be building a brand new building for my villager city. If you do not know already in the Let's Play, I've built a lot of what's going to be a place for villagers to roam. It's going to be kind of like a city but actually populated by villagers. And one of the things that I actually did was I built these apartment buildings. They're kind of like, villager housing, except they're way more efficient and they're also more modern. They fit into the whole build of the city. And I figured if we're going to have this and we're going to have a marketplace for them to sell stuff, wouldn't it make sense to have a giant kind of city version of a blacksmith and a giant city version of a church? So yeah, today I'm going to be building a church to go with all of these buildings, and it's going to be circular, so you'll also learn something about how to build circles in Minecraft, because, last episode I thought I was teaching something about that, but we actually did it in reverse, so that was meant to be a semicircle, and instead it's, I don't know what shape that is. But yeah, we're going to be doing that and teaching about Minecraft circles, but while we do that, I figured it'd be a cool idea to talk about talking, because with my channel in particular, a lot of people always do question, why I talk in the way I do, or why this or why that, and you probably even noticed that this video, less than a minute ago, didn't have an intro. I want to talk about all that and more in today's video. Hopefully you do all enjoy it. If you do, please do like it and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me know you do like it and want to see more Let's Plays and stuff. But yeah, with that said, let's get straight into it, shall we? By just mentioning how much granite we had to mine to get this done, because I realized I wanted a circular building to be a church thing, and I realized I wanted to make it out of granite, and I realized just how much granite I'd have to mine. So I got an iron pickaxe, I mined it all the way, got another one, mined it all the way, and then I mined this one most of the way, and we have pretty much a full inventory now. Hopefully that's enough to do what we need to do, and if it's not, then I guess we'll work that out later. So with that said, yeah, let's build the circle, and let's show you how to build a circle in the correct way this time. So this time we need to make sure, okay, first of all, we're gonna make sure we don't get too close to this. So this can be the buffer zone, that can be another buffer zone, and this can be the start of the circle. As you can see, this is technically a circle right now as well as a square, because it's the closest you can get in a 1x1 circle. And if we were gonna have a 3x3 circle, it'd look like this. But yeah, still, that's not a circle, right? Whenever you see people do that, you're like, that's not a circle, that's also a diamond. So how do you make a circle that's actually a circle in Minecraft? So it's pretty simple for a lot of people, but in case you don't know, it really just involves kind of changing your gradient as you go around the circle. So for instance here, I hope I do this right. I mean, this is a really awkward place to build, so let's just hope we don't get too close to either of these other buildings. Basically, yeah, you just want to have a long row, which is the side of the circle, because if you think about a circle, it kind of has 4 sides that just curve into each other. And then you kind of slowly make the line thinner and thinner until suddenly it's going diagonal, and then suddenly it's going the other direction at the equal rate it was before, and boom, just like that, we've duplicated. We've used maybe 15 blocks, but we've made a quarter of a circle. Obviously, it's not precise, it's not exactly a quarter of a circle, because you can't make that in Minecraft. Even with a 1,000,000 by 1,000,000 circle, it wouldn't be right, but still, you could look at it and you'd be like, yeah, that's pretty close. And now if we just do this the same over here, I really hope we haven't done this too wrong. Oh no, it's fine. We just avoid that building there. Then you can see, boom, we've made a semicircle. Now if we just do the last few blocks here, then boom, we've got a full circle. And just a pro tip for anyone that doesn't know, because I cover it in some more video every now and then, if you want to make a circle, all you have to do is slowly make the line thinner and thinner, and if you just experiment with a few different designs, like if this didn't work, which I think it's very close to being a good circle. It might not be the best circle, but it's pretty close. For instance, if we had 5 then 2, that might look weird. Maybe we fix that. Maybe this should be 5 and 2. But yeah, you just got to experiment with a few different things, and eventually you'll get the hang of it pretty easily. And if not, there's tools online. You can just search for Minecraft's circle generator, and they'll help you out just fine. So yeah, this will be our big giant city church. So if you're wondering why we need a city church, we don't really, but it'd be really cool if I could get a an NPC villager, but the priest one, I think they're called, to move in here, because priest trades are some of the best trades you can actually get in Minecraft. If you think about the Eye of Ender trade, that's awesome, not having to, also, wow, yeah, so close, just cutting it. Wouldn't it be really cool if you didn't have to go ahead and mine to kill the Enderman? I think it would be, and that's why these places are cool. So with that said though, we built the place. Let's make a doorway now. So I think there's 8 possible entrances for a doorway in a circle. The sides are kind of possible because it's diagonal here, and then there's the 4 straights. I think this one makes the most sense because it vaguely lines up with over there. It would have been a good idea if I'd had perfectly lined that up, in fact, and it would have fit perfectly, but no regrets just yet. Oh no, in fact, because if you look the road here, yeah, we could have made this 2 blocks to the left, but we couldn't have lined it up perfectly. So the fact that it's imperfect makes it even more perfect. Maybe. Or at least it doesn't make it any less perfect. But with that said, yeah, that's how you build a circle in Minecraft. And we're going to be building a kind of big church around here. It's going to have a lot of granite, and it's going to hopefully look distinct enough from that building over there. Because I noticed how close that was, while I was building the circle. And I'm just going to hope that it all works itself out. And if it doesn't, then we'll say it was deliberate. So while we build this, because there's going to be a lot of placing granite blocks right now, because we've got a lot of those to be placing. I wanted to talk about talking, because it's something I've wanted to do for a while now. I was thinking of doing it in a vlog, but I realised these Let's Plays are a great place to talk about what I've been thinking about the week too. You know, whether it's artificial intelligence, or whether it's nuclear... I think I talked about nuclear weapons once, but or whether it's that, or whether it's something as simple as just talking, which, again, it's got like almost a catchy name to it, right? Like, let's talk about talking. And, yeah, so I wanted to do this because the thing is about me talking on YouTube is I feel like I get a lot more complaints than most people do, and the reason for that is I talk very fast, not even just as like a YouTuber, as a person too. I was doing an interview recently, well, interview is probably the wrong term, but I was doing something recently where they were recording everything I wrote. It was a mess, but point being, they had to like stop me every fourth word or something, or every 4 seconds or something, just to make me go, hey, wait, and then they had to write it down, because I just talk like faster than any human can actually write. So with that said, yeah, I talk fast, and that's one of the kind of defining points of me as a person, right? Or as me as a YouTuber. You know, I talk fast. If you want to get information faster and you're willing to listen to it fast, that's something I'd like to believe I can provide. However, a lot of people do then say, so I'm having problems understanding this, and I don't think that's actually something to do with the speed. I think the fact that I talk as fast as I do, you know, like 1.5 times the speed of someone else, I don't think that's actually the problem. The problem is actually something to do with enunciation. So, if you don't know, there's two... or I guess they aren't actually related, but in my head they are. You know, a lot of people will talk about pronunciation. So if I pronounce the word... I pronounce the word pronounce wrong, because it's actually pronounce, but I say pronounce. Because it just sounds more right. But yeah, that's my favorite example, because I pronounce the... it's like a word that is itself. I pronounce wrong. I don't know if that counts as that. But anyway, yeah, that's something I do, right? But enunciation is to do with like saying all the letters in a word. So for instance, if you're in the UK, you probably hear people say water more than water, because they're not enunciating the T. And that's, I think, where the real problem comes from, because... really, I can understand people who talk fast, and I really enjoy it when people do too. But the only problem comes when you don't enunciate the sounds in your words. Because if I talk really, really fast, you need to be getting every single bit of that word to make sense of it. Because I think there's like an auto-correction the brain can kind of do. Like with the word water, you like, or water, I can't even do it without that. But if you hear that slow enough, your brain will just correct, and you probably won't even realize they're not saying water correctly. Or, you know, if I say, hello, maybe estoy and welcome back to another video, if you've heard me say that a billion times, you don't need to hear all the words, it just will translate into your brain, right? However, I think the big issue comes when, one, I'm saying a lot of stuff you haven't heard before, so in a news video, you can't possibly, or you could have, but, you know, you probably haven't heard of the stuff I'm talking about before, so that's probably going to have some effect. But then there's also the factor of, like, also, that's entirely wrong. Also, do you like this? It's got kind of like a casting effect going on. If we do this, like, 2 or 3 more times, we'll have, like, I think a pretty fancy church. Again, we'll have to see about that one, though. But, so I think that's the one problem I actually do have that I'm, like, always trying to work on. Because as it turns out, or as I learned recently, there's a lot of, like, big voice actors who have an accent. So my favorite example is, not voice actor, he's an actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't even say his name, but, you know, Arnold from Terminator. He's famous, he's the governor of California. I say his name offensively. But with that said, like, if you you know, he's got a strong Austrian accent, right? And the thing is you actually lose accents over time. But a lot of people do voice coaching to have accents, and a lot of people do voice coaching to enunciate properly. Because if you don't enunciate, then certain people can't understand you. And the same thing's true of accents, right? Like, you probably can't understand, or I can't understand a thick Southern accent for some words. But if you're from the South, like, logically some of you are watching this video from the South, you probably understand it just fine. You hear the word... I can't think of any South words here, but, you know, you hear that word and you're like, oh yeah, instantly converts this other word. And that's one of the problems I think that I do have. It's something I'd like to fix. So this is, I guess, also a pro tip for everyone watching this. You can actually learn accents. That's something a lot of people do. So if you look, for instance, Stephen Colbert, I think that's his name, the famous, or I don't know how famous it is, but, you know, he's a guy who does some form of comedy TV. He actually is from the South, and he by default has a really South accent, but he fixed it. FPS Russia on YouTube. He obviously isn't Russian, learned the accent, but also he's from the South, and again, fixed it to be a normal accent, because, you know, there's generally a stereotype about Southern accents and how they make you seem less intelligent, and whether there's any, I doubt there's any direct truth to that, but I think it's a correlation thing. But yeah, that's a pro tip for life like that. If you don't like your accent, you can actually just learn another one. And the best bit is, again, this is even something I didn't even realize properly, is the reason that I don't have an accent, the reason that's a thing that you can actually hear in the UK, the generic British accent isn't actually an accent from any part of the UK, like how the generic American accent is probably Californian. It's actually just a generic kind of language that's taught because it's the one that you'll hear in, like, you know, when we teach foreigners English, and also that they'll say on any, like, fancy BBC English is, I think, is another term for it. And yeah, just something you might not know. So I believe that's vaguely what I sound most like. You can look it up if you really want to. And pro tip for life, if you don't like your accent, and I was going to say if you're young enough, but even if you're like, I don't know, 40-something, or even, no matter how old you are, you can just learn to talk differently. And that's something I was considering doing when I was thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, so many people just do learn different accents, or learn away their accents, or learn to do this. If I'm going to be learning to correctly speak anyway, or like make sure that I correctly speak, because sometimes I'll speed through words and just not say half the syllables. Because, you know, if you're trying to go even faster and faster, you will cut out sounds and stuff. But yeah, with that said, pro tip for life right there. Hopefully that helps some of you out. So this building's actually getting quite big as we go. I probably do need to make, like, floors in between this too. So, just so I can make it easier for myself, I'll place a block there, and we'll know this will be a separate floor. Actually, I'll make the floors double as high. Actually, no, I won't. I'll just have something up here. What will be up here? I'm not entirely sure, but we can work that out later. So we're going to now look at the distance between these two blocks. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 layers of that. So now the 5th layer after this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this 5th one. Now we can put more blocks, and we keep on going like that. So with that said, yeah, enunciation, pronunciation, both important things. Learn them while younger, I guess, if you can. And if you do, that will help you out, especially if you ever start talking into a microphone for a career, which is something I don't know if I was ever expecting. I know it's one of those. I guess there is a lot of, like, different careers where you speak into a microphone. Like if you want to be on the radio, not that I think anyone really lives on the radio anymore, but if that was a thing, that's an idea. Voiceover, actually, I think voice overacting is like a bigger and bigger thing recently. Like, because if you think about more and more stuff is going to be animated, so instead of actors, they need voice actors. I could be imagining that in my head, but it seems like more stuff is animated over time. So maybe voice acting is something that one of you is going to do. And if you are, then that's pretty cool. Maybe you learned some. I guess if you're already into voice acting, you know way more than me about words, because I just really went over the basics about how most people learn to get rid of their accents because they don't like it. Anyway, going back to the point. So what about the intro thing then? So I understand, Toycat, you think you talk too fast, or you talk really fast, therefore you're working on that. But what about the whole this other thing? What is this other thing? What about the whole lack of intro thing? What is that all about then? So the reason that I've been not doing intros on a lot of videos I've been recording this week, I guess a lot of them won't go out this week, but the reason intros are going to be slowly phased out is because because I noticed that when I say hello, I'm IBX Toycat, I just sped through so many of the words that I had to really slow down and say hello, I'm IBX Toycat, and welcome back to another video. So I had to say that instead of hello, I'm IBX Toycat. And basically when I started doing that, a lot of people are like, oh, but now you're saying hello too hard. It's gotta be softer, Toycat, gotta sound more natural. And it's like, I don't know what to do about that at all. Like, I can't just like. The two problems there are like either the two problems there is I either say it too fast and no one understands it, or I say it too hard and people understand it too hard. It's like, you gotta make your minds up here. So I figured instead of trying to work on that, because the thing about an intro on YouTube is that everyone has an intro, right? Like if you look at any YouTuber, they'll be like, hello, I'm IBX Toycat, or they'll be like, hey guys, Toycat here, or they'll be like, welcome back to another Toycat video, everyone. Today. Or something like that. I just made up 3 intros. But, everyone has an intro. A lot of them are inspired by someone. But yeah, everyone just has a basic intro. They start every video. And I think, there's a part of me that thinks maybe this is a really cool idea that maybe builds loyalty or something bizarre like that. But honestly, I think everyone just has one because everyone else has one. And at this point, what are you going to do there? Like, you can't just not have an intro. And so yeah, that's why I'm going to be trying it out for a little bit. Just seeing what people think. Obviously, if enough people are like, this sounds kind of weird, that's the thing. But I think for the type of video I make, where you're going to skip from video to video, I think it's a cool idea. So it's like, you can be like watching one continuous video. So for instance, if you want to learn about 5 builds that you should be building in multiplayer, you can do that, no? And then straight from that video, also I guess we're going to go up even further from here. And then straight from that video, you can decide, I'm going to learn the 5 rarest mobs in Minecraft. And then from that video, you could be like, actually, now I'm going to learn how long it takes you to mine a whole Xbox 360 or PS3 size world, and that's just the 3 first videos I could name, I guess. But yeah, you can. The idea is that it will help people to watch from video to video, and maybe it'll even be a better thing. Like, It'll be like one continuous stream of video, rather than having to be introed each time. That's the dream. I'm also going to be trying something with the outro stuff, and also, yeah, the only series I'll be keeping it is Seed Sunday and Q&A Saturday, and maybe the Let's Play. I think it makes sense there. And yeah, that's something I'm going to be trying. I just figured I'd let you know what the reasoning is there. There isn't any particularly good thought to it, but I mean, it's the words that I'm saying right now, and we'll see how those go. So yeah, that's the 2 points about talking. First of all, I know I don't enunciate as well as I perhaps should, and that's something... I don't know how you actually do learn. I guess I'll just, like, watch the news and then say the news, maybe. Also, I think I did too big a gap between... Oh, I did do too big a gap between the last one and this one. Okay, we'll call it artistic design. Maybe. Will it work that way? Is it noticeably bigger? Oh, no, it looks exactly the same. Maybe it is exactly the same. Or maybe it's an optical illusion. Either way, I do quite like what we've got here. I think after this, though, this should be where we go for, like, some form of finisher. So, for instance, you know, let me just show you what I mean there. So each of these will presumably be a floor, and there'll be something on them. I don't know, honestly, what, but there'll be something there. That much I can tell you. And then after this, so we go up to the top now. And then after this, what we can do is we make a little kind of, like, arched window like this. Kind of like we did the main doorway. And this can be the start of it moving inwards. Because I want to have it, like, kind of have a spire at the top, sorry. So we could do that by just doing something like this. And then slowly, like, we'll fade inwards. So, like, from... Wait, how's this going to work? This doesn't work at all. Oh, right, this is on the edge. That's not fading inwards at all. Oh, no, wait, if we just make this, then... Like, too high out of this, maybe. And then... I'm not sure what my plan is here, actually. Let's give it a look. And then we'll put some glass in there, because I do have... Let's just put packed ice in there as a glass simulator for now. This is... See, packed ice, perfect for simulating glass. Then we jump through here, give it a look. And you can see that's how it would look with some form of stained glass. So I like the build already. I think it is a little bit too similar to the granite house over there for my liking. If it was my choice, I would probably go for something a little bit different, but still, not too bad. And we only used most of our granite, and we got, like, most of it done, which is good, I think. Although this outside layer of granite's going to be messy. Yeah, there's a few issues. Definitely needs to be ironed out. I need to pick up a color stained glass, and I need to pick something to go on the inside too. In fact, should we do that now, because we have some time anyway? So yeah, we'll just go to the chest, and we'll pick some colors, and we'll just take which one's best. I'd really love to use stained glass for a floor at some point, even though I know that's a terrible idea. So maybe we should do that now. See, if this was a live stream, I'd just be like, oh, so hey, I'm about to do this. Oh, speaking of that, actually, I'm live streaming a lot more recently, and since a lot of you who've watched Let's Play like the idea of a week of something series, or at least I've seen a lot of suggestions for it, because I did a week of Let's Play, I did. Something I was considering doing, actually, is like a week, or even a month, where every single weekday, like Monday to Friday, I do a stream. And that's something I'll probably do in June or July or whenever, you know, like... So when, like... Because the thing about streams right now is they're so variable based on, you know, if it's during the day. Because if it's during the day, people are either at school or work or something. So whenever spring break comes, at the very least, because then... I assume people work less. I don't know how people work in other countries. But yeah, then hopefully we can make something happen there. So I think dark oak slabs might be the best idea here, actually. Though we'll take the acacia wood, just because we can use those for the thing over there to finish that. And it'll be good. So yeah, let's give these a look. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, and we call everything quits. And if it does, then it's pretty darn cool. So yeah, with that said, let's... Oh wait, why do we bring the glass? Like, we can't dye it here or anything. You know, maybe we should use glass to the floor, because then the sand below it, it's kind of catchy. But no, let's... Okay, so first of all, here's acacia. I'm not actually too big a fan of it, because, you know, it looks too similar to the other build. So just kind of mix things up. And also... Yeah, okay, let's mix things up. Use dark oak slabs. Yeah, I think this is pretty fancy. Also, because they're half slabs. Oh, well, let's make them other half slabs. Because then no mobs will spawn in here. And we can keep it dark and make it spooky. I don't know if it works that way anymore. I know there used to be a glitch where mobs wouldn't spawn on half slabs. We'll see if it's still the case. Only one way to find out, right? So now we just make everything half slabs. And it's not really too noticeable from the outside. Like, it'll be noticeable whenever I have, like... Oh, anything inside here. But as long as I make everything, like, subtly done... Hopefully it won't be too obvious, because if I think I can. Because if I just put everything on a table, but then make the table like 1.5 blocks tall. So if there's a chest here, for instance, I place it on something like that. Wait, is that? Yeah, it almost looks like it's 2 blocks, and people probably don't pay attention to that. That's the dream anyway. So yeah, if we just do that well enough, then hopefully things will be good. So now I don't want to destroy the cactus just yet, because it seems like an iconic part. Also, we don't have enough blocks to, so yeah, that's this is like a 60% building we built today. But what we can do before we finish up for good is we can place the rest of these acacia wood slabs. Speaking of pronunciations, by the way, something that I'm not willing to change, regardless of how many times it annoys people, is how I pronounce a lot of words. Because some words I will fix my pronunciation when I realize it's wrong, if I don't think it's too common. But there are some words that I just refuse to change for no good reason. So pronounce, for instance, or pronounce. I'm trying to say it right now, just so you will know the word I'm saying. But that word, I don't know. I'm not very good at changing that one. And also, Mojang. A lot of people think that's wrong, but Mojang is actually the correct pronunciation of that. Oh, I said it correctly there. By accident, too. That's great. Yeah, it's actually the correct pronunciation. Mojang is. So, if you're wondering why, it's because it's Swedish, and I think they turn J's into Y's, I assume. I actually learned a lot of Swedish at one point. I don't think I was even going to Sweden, although I am going to go at some point soon. But yeah, I was just like, I'm going to learn Swedish, because it's the most popular of the Nordic languages, and if you learn Swedish, you generally kind of know a little bit of Danish and Norwegian, and also because Swedish is the second language in Finland, it kind of counts there too. I don't know, it's a handy language to learn, except not really at all. But yeah, with that said, hope you did all enjoy today's video. I'm going to stare at that Enderman a little bit. He doesn't care. But yeah, I hope you did all enjoyed it. If you did, like it, let me know. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. Let me know what you think about the lack of intros, and besides that, I'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye, everyone.